Welcome to Films and Stuff with your hosts, Pete Mitchell and Ethan Hunt.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Films and Stuff podcast. I'm Ethan, joined by the MVP that stands for Most Valuable Pete. Hey, Pete, what's up today?
Not much, buddy. How are you?
I'm great. You know what? Every episode, I get excited to talk about something, but I really get excited about kind of our, can I call it like an omnibus episode?
Yeah.
Where we talk about like a lot of stuff, like at the same time. And today is one of those such episodes because it is, drumroll, bugles, and so forth, 4th annual Predicties, which is our Films and Stuff way of saying that Pete and I look towards the summer blockbuster calendar, May, June, July, August. So we usually do this sometime in April, which is where we are right now. And we try to predict what are going to be the 10 biggest by global box office performance summer blockbusters of this coming summer. We've had, I think, a lot of drama in the past 3 years, right?
So our trial year, I won quite handily because that was with 9 predictions instead of 10.
That's right.
Then years 1 and 2, I beat you by the skin of my teeth.
Yeah.
And then last year, you snuck in there and took the crown away from me, preventing the three-peat.
This is our 4th year, and it stands 2 victories for Pete, 1 for Ethan. Year 1 was fantastic because, I mean, both of us had a little bit of shame or egg on our face. You had egg on your face because you only had 9. One of the films you chose was actually released in autumn.
The Marvels movie, yeah.
So you had 9, which was embarrassing for you at the time. And it was more embarrassing for me because I lost to someone who actually chose 9. Then the second year, you did barely beat me, but I think the big event that year was that you chose the Garfield movie.
I'll never live it down.
You'll never live that down. You will not. You chose Garfield as number 2, and you're like, I'm going out on a limb here, and I'm going to choose. And I'm like, and that has not aged well. And then year 3, finally, I got into the win column. And I think I just beat you by like 1 point. It was super close.
It was super close. And actually, it was because, and this is why we do it this way, you accurately predicted your favorite film franchise of all time, Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah.
In the correct place.
Yeah, I got an extra point for that, I think. And that propelled me to the top. So it stands 2-1. Every year we've had a good bit of drama. I would expect no less this year, although I have to say, looking at our lists, I'm not sure where that drama is going to be, but something's going to creep in. It always does.
It does. It does. This year, I think our lists are almost, in terms of composition, almost identical. The only difference is going to come down to our wild cards. So, let's see how that goes.
We're also getting a little bit better. I mean, I feel like year 1, we were kind of like, I feel like this is going to do well. Like I was kind of like, I feel like, this movie is going to be a surprise hit. Then year 2 and year 3, we tidied up a little bit and we started to do like a little bit more research. We did like some comps. So I think we're getting also a little bit more disciplined in our choices as well. And that probably accounts for why it's closer.
Yeah. Let's call it that.
Yeah. All right. So let's go from 10 to 1. Give me your choice for number 10 first.
All right. My choice is Masters of the Universe, the new He-Man movie.
Oh, I chose exactly the same thing. Here's where I fall on this movie. And this is why I put it at 10. And I could have put it lower, actually. Like I could have put it as a wild card instead. And the reason is, as a kid, He-Man was a big intellectual property. I mean, it was a big Saturday animated cartoon.
Yeah.
We love Skeletor. We love Battle Cat. I can't really remember anything else about like the plot. But that's a long time ago. And that intellectual property, to be honest, is a little bit dormant. Like, it means something to me and you, but I don't think it means anything to anyone younger than us.
No, exactly right. I think you're absolutely right. I think they did a Netflix animated show with Kevin Smith. That turned out to be an absolute bust.
Yeah. So I think that's actually two of the issues, which is the IP is a little bit dated. And I was comparing this to the Dungeons and Dragons movie with Chris Pine.
Yeah.
And Dungeons and Dragons is certainly a better known IP. Chris Pine was a headliner of that movie, whereas this one doesn't have anyone that I've immediately recognized. But that kind of fantasy / sorcery / stuff that works for a movie like Thor, it may not work for this. And for that reason, I think it's got some good marketing and backing, but I'm not sure. Like, I'd be happy if it came in at 10. I really cannot see that it's going to be much higher than that. I don't think it's going to be like a surprise hit. I think it's at best going to fall in kind of at this 9 to 10 range.
Yeah.
All right. So far, no one has distinguished ourselves. What do you got for number 9?
All right. For number 9, I have a video game adaptation, Mortal Kombat 2.
All right. I have also a sequel, but my sequel is Devil Wears Prada 2.
Yeah.
Probably speaks for itself. I mean, the original, more well-known in popular culture than it actually performed, I think, at the box office. You know, it's one of those things that's like famous for being famous.
Yes.
But it actually wasn't something that a lot of people went to. So I think that even though it's a very well-known intellectual property now, I don't see it to be this runaway billion-dollar blockbuster this summer.
Yeah, I think it's also because other than Meryl Streep, remember, this is like Anne Hathaway was still a very young early actress at that time. Emily Blunt was still a very young early actress at her time, like early in their careers.
Stanley Tucci is ageless, though.
Stanley Tucci is Stanley Tucci. I mean, the Tucci master stays that way.
He looks exactly the same.
Exactly. But I'm saying that in the sense that it was a very good film. It was a parody on Anna Wintour. I think it has aged better than you would expect it to.
Yeah. I'll never forget the line from Tucci, kind of like in the original, where he's like, "Who is she? Are we doing a before and after segment?"
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he played that catty, whatever character
assistant,
very well.
like the catty assistant, very, very well. Yeah. Number 8, what do you got?
All right, for number 8, I've got Devil Wears Prada 2.
I have Disclosure Day, which is apparently the Steven Spielberg kind of unknown sci-fi. Is it or isn't it a sequel or reference to someone else? Close Encounters. There's a lot of unknowns about it, apart from the fact that it's got a very mysterious kind of premise, a big cast, and there was like a trailer for it during the Super Bowl, so it's got at least some amount of momentum behind it, huh?
Yeah.
Number 7?
Number 7, I've got Christopher Nolan's next magnum opus, The Odyssey.
Oh, I have to say, I also have this on my list, but higher. I won't tell you where yet. Tell me why you have it at number 7 and not higher or not lower.
There is a chance, and there's a good chance. With Christopher Nolan, you never know. But there's always a good chance that this blows up and becomes the next Oppenheimer. And he's certainly going to be riding on that Oppenheimer wave. Yep. I think that it's going to do very well. I just don't think it's going to do as well as the movies. I don't think that the movies ahead of it are going to be any better critically. I, in fact, think I have very high expectations for The Odyssey. I just think that the others are going to do better with the crowd.
So you've got The Odyssey at 7. At number 7, I've got Supergirl. And I don't really have much to say. I think it's going to be, having seen Superman and how DC is positioning that, and Supergirl made, I guess, a 2-minute cameo. I feel like this is going to be a good movie. I think it will be a very well-received movie. I just don't see it going to be like, again, $1 billion blockbuster, because I think Supergirl generally performs probably a little bit behind Superman. And Superman, we were kind of waiting to see whether or not, this new reboot was going to be $1 billion movie, like similar to some of the Marvel stuff. And it came in, I think it kind of like 400 million, 500 million, right? Like it didn't really blow the doors off of everything worldwide. So I guess I kind of benchmarked Supergirl to that.
Yeah, so
let's see.
Spoiler alert, my next movie, number 6, is Supergirl.
Oh, there we go.
I agree with you.
Probably for similar reasons.
I agree with you that I don't want to say the cap, but I would say that it's certainly going to be linked to the success of Superman. I think that the fact that you've got Jason Momoa as Lobo in the movie is going to add a little bit more color and a little bit more comedic presence to this film than the first one had.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's going to do, in my opinion, it'll do better than Superman, but not like, if Superman made 500 million, this isn't going to make $1 billion. I think this is going to be 100 million to 200 million more.
I think she benefits from the fact that she was in House of the Dragon.
Yep.
And I think that she's not really a household name yet.
Yep.
She will be, but I think she benefits from being in House of the Dragon, and people will be like, oh, I remember her from House of the Dragon. Like, it's that girl from this. And I think that will be, I guess, something that drives people to cinema, that there's a little bit of name recognition. So we've got Supergirl about the same.
Yep. This is the first major whoa moment for me.
So I've got Moana, which is a live action remake of the original animated film, right?
Yep.
And it's got The Rock. The Rock is the big guy in it. I'm sure that your temptation was to put this much higher because of the intellectual property and because of the performance of the original animated film, which I think just went bonkers, right?
Yeah, the first one made $700 million dollars, and the second one made 1.1 billion.
I deliberately put it lower for a few reasons. One, it's live action. And if you've compared kind of the Disney live actions to the original animated, the live action has done decidedly worse. And that's a track record of Snow White, a few others recently that just did not do quite as well. Maybe we'll see that with Dora the Explorer as well. The Rock's track record also is not as spotless as it has been prior to Black Adam, for example. So I think that The Rock itself doesn't just carry this automatically. And third, it's being released on July 10, which is a little bit of it's a busy period. So for example, we'll see Minions and Monsters is released on July 1. Then this is released on July 10. We already said that a bunch of stuff is coming out after that. So I thought it was just a very kind of busy time in the cinemas. So could definitely be higher. I guess you've probably put it higher, but I was comfortable at number 6.
Yeah, you're right that some of the latest live action remakes have not been as successful. Man, when they are successful, like The Lion King made $1.6 billion.
This is going to be one of the ones that separates me and you.
It'll come down to exact placement.
Yeah.
But the fact is, they're both on our top 10.
Yeah.
But if it hits the way I expect it to hit versus if it flops the way you're expecting it to flop. Yeah. And again, when I say flop, I don't mean flop as in like it's not going to do well. I just think that flop expectations-wise. Exactly. Your expectation is that it won't hit as hard as my expectation is that it will hit as hard.
That's the bottom 5, right? And if we look at kind of historically, the top 5 or like the top 3 or 4 have just been like printing money. And then kind of the bottom, like 7, 8, 9, 10 have been like, well, that's a lot of money, but they're not even like close, to like the top 3 or 4. Yeah. And then there's kind of like the middle range, right? Yeah. So we finished, we're halfway done. This is serious business, right? So if we get any of these, if any of the ones that we chose in the top 5, aren't in the top 5, they have flopped. I don't think it's because you and I have said, like, there's no Garfield this year, right? I don't think so. We have. There's no Garfield this year. We're like, let's just take a chance on this. It's going to be the runaway blockbuster. Now, if something is not in the top 5, it's been a failure one way or another.
Right.
What do you got for number 5?
So for number 5, I've got Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu.
I've got it at number 4. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
and we're close on this as well. I think that, again, the positioning, it's not an indication of quality. We think it's the indication relative to others, right? So at this point, what Ethan says is absolutely right. All top 5 movies are going to be good movies, whether it's critical or not. But it's just a matter of, are they better than the ones that placed ahead of it or not, right? And generally speaking, that's true. There are sometimes exceptions to that rule. I think in general, the Jurassic World franchise has been that exception, right? Or the Fast and Furious franchise. I love the Fast and Furious franchise, but I'll be the first to tell you that those movies are awful. The same goes with Jurassic World, is they do well every year they're out, but generally speaking, the movies are absolutely horrendous.
I cannot respect anybody who's like, man, I love Jurassic Park.
Or let's put it, anyone who's not a child.
I want to meet that person who's like, oh man, I can't wait for the next Jurassic. Like, I want to interview them. I just want to walk through their mindset.
Yeah, we want an MRI of their brain scan.
I want an MRI. I'm going to change the name of this movie. You tell me if that changes where you rank it.
Okay.
The movie is now called The Mandalorian. Not The Mandalorian and Grogu. It's The Mandalorian. Where do you rank it?
I actually think it goes down.
Yep, I agree. I think adding Grogu, I want to call it a masterstroke, but I mean, it's so obvious that it's hard to call it a masterstroke. But I think that, for me, that's what propels it to add families, kids. Yeah. It expands the audience, and that's why I put it above Minions and Monsters. That's why it's more of a Toy Story competitor rather than being just a Star Wars.
Right. Because you get the cute factor of Baby Yoda.
Exactly right. Mandalorian and Grogu is my number 4. What did you? Number 5 was my Minions and Monsters, but you had Mandalorian and Grogu at number 5, right?
Yeah. So you have Minions 3, which is Minions and Monsters.
Yep.
Historically a great franchise.
Speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Speaks for itself.
Exactly.
Right? What do you have for number 4 then?
My number 4 is Toy Story 5.
Oh.
I think that the franchise is fantastic. Huh? Yeah. So again, of the franchises in the top 5, I actually think Toy Story is probably my second favorite, maybe even my number 1. But I think that it's going to come in lower, not because the movie's going to be bad, but in fact, it's because the other ones have more appeal globally.
Yeah, I have Toy Story higher than that. But again, I mean, we're just kind of like arguing about the margins. My perspective on Toy Story, and I'm absolutely not going to see it, and I don't think I've seen anything since Toy Story 2, to be honest.
Right.
But I will say this. Toy Story, every time I think pumps out something that's very, very high quality. So that's number 1 that it has going for it. What it doesn't have going for it is I think it's a little bit tired.
Yeah.
It's still got Buzz Lightyear. It's still got Woody. It's been there, done that a little bit. So I can see why you would put it at a 4. But historically, Toy Story has just like printed money again. It's like Jurassic Park, but better quality, probably, right?
Yeah.
Number 3. Now we're really getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Tell me what you got for number 3.
So number 3, I've got Minions 3, Minions and Monsters.
Okay. I have The Odyssey. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey at number 3. When I look at, or at least the top of the list, The Odyssey is arguably the only real true movie. Everything else is, and I know The Odyssey isn't a new intellectual property. It's based on a book. It's, I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of years old, right? So, I mean, it's not like a new story, but it's a new movie. Nolan is one of the very few directors that kind of takes billing, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, it's very few directors, I think, are people go and be like, oh, I want to see a new Christopher Nolan movie, right? There's not that many directors that have that brand appeal.
Yeah.
He's obviously riding high on Oppenheimer, which I didn't think was a subject matter that was interesting or even a great movie, to be honest. I mean, technically, yes. That did incredibly well, so he's riding on that. The Odyssey has a cast that is bonkers.
Unbelievable.
So, I mean, if you're looking for brand name recognition, Hollywood A-lister, right? Damon, Tom Holland, I'm missing 10 others. The Odyssey has that. The Odyssey is also it's a movie. Like, I want to go to IMAX. I want to see the movie. It's going to appeal to couples. It's going to appeal to men. It's going to kind of appeal to women. Like, apart from the fact that it's not animated, it's a true movie. And I don't think it really turns anyone off, because I could be like someone, I'm excited about The Mandalorian and Grogu, but I could see someone being like, nah, I don't really like Star Wars. Okay. Like, there are people that just aren't into Star Wars.
Correct.
I could see someone saying, well, I haven't watched the TV show The Mandalorian. I don't subscribe to Disney Plus. I don't want to go see the movie. I don't think there's a lot of argument for why you wouldn't want to see the Odyssey. I mean, apart from the fact that you've got like little kids that can't get into it, I don't see a lot of reasons why you wouldn't go to the Odyssey. So I see the Odyssey as being kind of a true summer blockbuster movie. I put it at number 3. Yeah. And you had it at 5, I think?
I had it at number 7.
Yee.
Yeah. I think the only thing about number 7...
That's another one that's going to separate us.
Exactly right. And I think the only reason I put it so low is because... And this hasn't stopped Christopher Nolan for all... I mean, Oppenheimer proved that. But I think the subject matter is too niche. I love Greek mythology. So this is right up my alley. But... Does your average American or global listener or viewer of movies? I'm not so sure. Again, Christopher Nolan did the unthinkable with Oppenheimer, so maybe he can pull it off again with the Odyssey as well.
I think it'll be really... So the trailers I've seen for the Odyssey, I would say have been more mysterious than like compelling.
Yeah.
So I would say that if the Odyssey is going to be portrayed as, for example, they show this like battalion of kind of Roman-clad soldiers in these really neat, like, you know, the formations, and they're all lifting their spears and like chanting, or you see like this big clash where they're running towards people, and then I think it's going to be like, I don't really want to see that. If it's a little bit more Roman court, where you see like these big debates and maybe like cutaways to like some passionate scenes or something, like if you make it a little bit more of a thriller, I think it would get more people enthused. So I think it's going to be a little bit how the trailers position it. And if it's going to be like Troy and just like a fighting movie, probably it will turn some people off. And if it's going to be as kind of like this salacious drama, it will probably bring more people in.
The more mythological it goes, the better it has, in my opinion, the better chance it has.
Because now it's been just more mystery and not really, well, what's the movie going to look like?
Yeah.
So that's my number 3, The Odyssey. Number 2, I've got Toy Story 5. All the reasons I talked about. I think it's going to be well over $1 billion.
I've got Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Ooh.
So this, I was in two minds, because really, this was going to be my number 1 movie until I realized my number 1 movie is Moana.
Yeah.
Honestly, it could be Moana. It could be Spider-Man. I really think that ultimately, I think it's going to be one of those. I think the appeal of Moana just edges out the appeal of Spider-Man. But, you know, Spider-Man, every movie in the Spider-Man franchise so far, except the first, has made over $1 billion. And the first made $900 million. So it's not like this doesn't have a chance. I think this one's going to I think this is going to be $1 billion movie this summer.
So I've got Spider-Man number 1. But I guess one of the things I'm having problems reconciling Spider-Man with is, do you think that Spider-Man is it really, where is the secret sauce in Spider-Man? I mean, We like Tom Holland. He's very likable. I mean, he's grown in terms of his worldwide brand recognition now dramatically, right? I mean, he's been in some other things. But when you look at some of the other like superhero movies, I mean, even across like DC, Superman is an equally well-known character, and that franchise didn't do nearly as well on the reboot. Same with Batman. And kind of the latest Avengers movies have been mixed.
So I would push back on you. I think if you look at Spider-Man, Spider-Man has been historically the most successful superhero franchise, period. The Spider-Man merchandising alone is more than Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman combined every year.
Wow.
So Spider-Man toys outsell Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman combined every year.
What is the appeal of Spider-Man? I mean, I like Spider-Man, so it's not like I don't know, but like, where do you think this comes from that Spider-Man is like so...
For the younger kids, I think the appeal is the fact that the color scheme is fantastic, red and blue, right? And the designs are fantastic. Older appeal is that he's just a regular kid who's really smart, but he's just in a really shitty position in life. And despite all of that, he still finds a way to mix being a regular human being with regular human problems with being a superhero.
I have to say, Holland plays that really well.
Yeah.
Probably better than Tobey Maguire did. Better than... Who was after Tobey Maguire?
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah. Like, I feel Tom Holland's always been a little bit, like, self-depreciating. Tobey Maguire hasn't. Tobey Maguire's like, look, I'm the smartest guy in the room. So I think Tom Holland's played that role well. How many more Spider-Mans do you see? Like, at what point do we get Spider-Man fatigue, though?
So that is my concern, is this is the fourth individual Spider-Man movie in the franchise now.
Yeah.
It's like the 10th overall.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here, right? And that's going to be the question. Because we still haven't seen all of the Spider-Man, the Rogues Gallery. But still, the question is, do we get a little bit of fatigue? I don't know at this point.
Okay, tomorrow, opening night, 7 p.m., Odyssey, Spider-Man. Which do you see?
I watch Odyssey first and then Spider-Man.
Mandalorian or Spider-Man?
I watch Mandalorian over Spider-Man.
Yeah. Masters of the Universe or Spider-Man?
Spider-Man.
There's a little bit of Spider-Man fatigue, right? I mean, and that's not a criticism. It's just you and I have seen Tom Holland play standalone Spider-Man with Zendaya and, sorry, I don't know what his name is, the fat bald guy, right? Who's always got like the Lego Death Star. Like we've seen those characters a little bit. It's not that I know what the movie's going to be, but we know what the movie's going to be, right? When do we get fatigue? We're like, another Spider-Man? Like, forget it. Or is Spider-Man just Jurassic Park, and as long as they make it, and Tom Holland shows up and puts on a reasonably inspired performance, that it'll just make $1 billion until he's 50 years old.
Yeah. And they're kind of doing that, to their credit. So in this movie, the Punisher is also there, John Bernthal. To their credit, and this is one of the reasons why I think Thor Ragnarok was as successful, is they said, we can't just have Spider-Man, we're going to have Spider-Man and another superhero in there.
That's right.
And that's what we saw with the Hulk and Thor in Ragnarok. Yeah. I think that's where you start to get a little bit more refreshed, is when you start doing movies that are not just about one character.
Right.
Because a lot of this movie is going to be about how no one remembers Spider-Man anymore and how he's going to try to win back Zendaya and Mary Jane and get with these guys again. That to me is not... I'm not turning into a Spider-Man movie to watch his relationship struggles with Mary Jane.
Yeah, I agree. Is Spider-Man the only thing keeping Sony alive as a company?
In terms of superheroes, certainly. In terms of movie franchises, certainly. I can't think of anything else right now that's really kicking Sony into high gear.
Sony has other movies, right? Like, they're trying.
They are.
What else are they doing? I feel like Sony is just like bomb. Like, don't worry. We'll just do another Spider-Man and we'll erase all these Ponzi scheme losses, from our bad decisions the past 2 years.
So they've got Jumanji 3, which is coming out in December. That'll be a huge hit for them.
We should talk about that. That's a good one. Okay. Do you think Jumanji 3 is going to be big?
I do. I think Jumanji is going to be huge.
The first Jumanji with The Rock and Kevin Hart was 100% one of my favorite movies. And then it felt like Jumanji 2 was...
Yeah, it didn't do as well. So the first one made $961 million.
Yep.
And the second one made $800 million. So you're right, it didn't do as well, but still $800 million is not a joke.
Yeah. But you would say, oh, that's heading in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that unless this one is a smash hit, they're done after this one.
Because the first one was just so brilliant, the way that they switched the characters. And then they did it for the second one as well, and it just didn't, it just didn't like click as much. You want your sequel to be like, man, that first one is great. And then the sequel is like twice as good,
Yeah.
And it's just like, now we've got a juggernaut, But when it comes in a little bit less, that's, let's see what happens. All right, so our top 10 is set. Should we do our 2 wild cards?
Oh, we should do our wild card. So what are the 2 movies that you think could sneak into the top 10, but you're not 100% sure on?
One of them is something you've got, one of them is not. So I've got Mortal Kombat 2.
Yep.
And I've got Paw Patrol.
I think that's a genius move. In fact, I'm kind of regretting not putting that on there. I think Paw Patrol has a very good chance because every year... So I went the other way. Mine is Disclosure Day and Insidious: The Bleeding World.
Oh.
Because every summer, either a surprise kids movie or a surprise horror movie always sneaks into the top 10.
Yeah, that's true.
I went horror movie, as I typically tend to do. You went kids movie. I think either of those would do it.
I feel pretty good about my wild cards. I think I'm looking for... I kind of flip-flop between whether or not He-Man should be my wild card or not.
Yeah.
But I think that He-Man is really in risk of falling out of the top 10. The rest of my top 10 I feel pretty good about. Devil Wears Prada, I think it's going to be a good movie. I just don't know if it's got the widespread global appeal to maintain its positioning,
I think with a lot of these movies, if China and India really hit it off with them, they'll do incredibly well. In fact, not even India, China really. And I think that The Devil Wears Prada 2 is not going to appeal as much in China, which is why it won't do as well. But I think the appeal in the West is going to be very strong.
All right. So those are the 2026 Summer Predicties Films and Stuff podcast. A lot of other folks have kind of done their predictions as well, but we've really limited it to not just the whole year, but for the summer blockbusters. We're middle of April now, so we don't really have to wait long until Devil Wears Prada 2 comes out at the beginning of May. I think May 1st it's released.
That's right.
And then it's going to be 3 straight months of probably every week there's something big being released.
Exactly.
May, June, July, every week there's a big film coming out.
Yeah, we're going to be quite busy, definitely in June and July, but I think a lot of May as well.
Pete, anything to add before we sign off?
No, but what is on your top 10? Let us know. Leave a comment below. Like this video. Subscribe to our channel. And do not forget to hit that notification bell so that you know when the next episode of the Films and Stuff podcast drops for you.
Pete, thanks for your predictees. And I say this sincerely, the best of luck to both of us. May the best predictor win. It's, again, 2-1 in your favor. It's an opportunity for me to either even it up, which would be cool going into year 5, man. Year 5 with you. Or if you've got a commanding 3-1 lead, I feel like the Boston Red Sox playing the New York Yankees in the playoffs. Like, I got some work to do to come back and win that 7-game series,
That's right.
Anyway, listeners, thank you for tuning in. Pete, thank you as always. And we shall see you next week, next episode, Films and Stuff podcast. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, everyone.
Bye now.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Films and Stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are downloaded. Films and Stuff. There is no substitute.